Yeah.
Hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Baron Davis, the founder of B.I.G, Business Inside the Game. Shout out to Biggie, the notorious B.I.G. It came from him. B.I.G stood for Business Instead of Game. So I flipped it. And turned it into Business Inside the Game. I wanted an opportunity to give athletes, give entrepreneurs, give investors, give people in the culture an opportunity to connect with each other, an opportunity to inspire each other, learn from each other. And now we're here. This is our 6th year at NBA All-Star. Thank you. Appreciate that. Obviously the snow, all that couldn't keep us away from each other. But I'm just super grateful to be here. Shout out to the team for this beautiful space. Let's give them a round of applause for putting this together. Today is going to be a fun day. We have some exciting panelists, some exciting conversations. The goal here is for us to network. The goal here is for us to, with intention, right, find solutions to problems as entrepreneurs, problems as investors, problems as connectors. And so we're all here, using our superpower to better our community, better our environment. And without further ado, I want to call up the host of Business Inside the Game, my big dog, my homie, COVID taught me how to DJ, prayer buddy, calm me down buddy, TNT host. We worked at TNT, but when we talk about Big, he is the epitome of what we're talking about. He is the essence of a multi-hyphenate, investor, connector, host, TV analyst, producer, DJ. I mean, we like twins, man. DJ cue his music. Ladies and gentlemen, our host, Ro Parrish. Yeah.
Yeah, shouts out to DJ Dav. You can cut it. Hey, I appreciate everybody for joining us. Is everybody enjoying yourself for All-Star Weekend, though? They seem a little bit dead, don't they? Hey, Navi, put up what I wanted you to put up. But yeah, we appreciate everybody. We know there's a lot of things popping on All-Star Weekend, but we appreciate you for joining us for the 6th annual time we've done this. And shouts out to Baron Davis. Give him some love because he is the mastermind behind all of this. But yeah, shouts out to all the entrepreneurs, creatives, investors, executives, everybody in the building. You were in for a treat today. You're going to hear from a lot of great people with great knowledge. And like Baron said, we're here to seek solutions. So can we get everybody just loose for a second?
Yeah, please, I would love to.
Hey, Navi, hit that for me. So what I want you to do right now, I want you to put your arm around the person next to you. I don't know if you know him or not. You might not know him, but get familiar because we're seeking solutions, and we're gonna get a little energy in here for a second. So I see some people I know, but I see some people I don't know. So get familiar. We gotta start slow, B. Diddy. Put your arm around somebody. All right, we gotta. Wait. Bring it back, Navi. Bring it back. Oh, wait. All right, once again, put your arm around somebody. I don't care if you know them or not. Get familiar. B. Diddy, stand next, and we start slow. Left, right, left, right, left. Speed it up. Here we go. Hey, cause we swag, surfing, we swag. Wait. They not surfing in the back. Oh, in the way back they surfing, no. They surfing. Hey. All right, now we appreciate it. So as you know we're already behind schedule. CP time, that's how we do things, but there's a lot of things going on. So what we're going to do now is bring up the first panel, How Athletes Build Their Brands and Legacy, presented by Integrated Athletes. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and bring to the stage, moderating this, Richard Gray, founder of Integrated Athletes. Where's Richard at? He's coming to the stage right now. And also joining him, Marty Watkins, CEO of Simply Global, Greg Ogui of We French, he's a CEO, Josh Williams, principal of WC Investments, and Josh Wilson. Did I say Josh Wilson already? I think I did. I'm tripping. So nice to say it twice. I'm going to get out the way.
First and foremost, we appreciate everybody in attendance today. What Barron and, Team B.I.G have been doing for the past 6 years is nothing short of phenomenal. Being able to watch this evolve, in all of the times that I've attended over the past 5 years, it's part of the reason why the integrated athlete is a thing. Like Barron epitomizes an integrated athlete. His creativity as a player, his tenacity, his leadership, like all of these things are also responsible for what he's building right now. He just literally applied those things that he had as a player and just transitioned it into something different. And I feel like he's taken, the early steps of what's going to be, continue to be amazing. But a little bit about the integrated athlete, it's two-tiered, right? Like we're starting off with storytelling. We're tapping into the special sauce of athletes and, focusing on how they tap into that and starting new ventures beyond the game, right? Like it doesn't stop at retirement, right? Like retirement isn't coming to All-Star Weekend, doing curtain calls every year and reminiscing on those glory days, right? Like you have a lot of time in front of you. You have a lot of life to live and a lot to give to this game. And so, we want to tell those stories in a very specific way. And then beyond that, provide the ones that are getting ready to be integrated with the right tools to help, support them as they go on their own journeys and tell that story in the process. But, this panel is broader than the integrated athlete. We have a phenomenal group of panelists here. And I feel like all of them going into like who they are, what they're about, and then we kind of tie that into the rest of, the panel, and then we can get this thing going.
How's everybody doing? My name is Marley Watkins. I'm the CEO of Simply Global, Inc. We are a corporate structuring and AI company. So we combine corporate structuring with conversational AI to provide our clients with wealth optimization. We'll get more into that later, but at the end of the day is taking expert corporate structuring, taking conversational AI, and trying to keep as much money in your pocket as possible.
Awesome, thank you. Hi, I'm Greg, and I'm CEO of We French. So we're a software company, and we help individuals become franchise owners. So if you wanted to build a portfolio of McDonald's or Mahana Freshes, we connect you with the right one so you can build wealth. That's basically it.
Yeah, my name is Josh Wilson, principal of WC Investments, former 9-year vet, NFL vet. Basically, what we do is affordable housing, multifamily affordable housing, real estate. We got into it while I was still playing, and I'll dive more to that later. But it's a fun thing, and I'm glad I got into it.
Yeah, so we hear AI, we hear franchising, and we hear real estate, right? Like when you get a chance to sit down with professional athletes, whether they're currently playing or getting ready to transition, these are industries that are going to be brought up all the time. So it's a specific reason why we're focusing on these three silos. I guess I can start with. I'll start with Josh. Josh is a former NFL player, and he's been going through his journey. He is an integrated athlete. So, Greg, man, the first question is, Josh, why real estate? Move in this space and focus on a niche in real estate.
I appreciate that. So, why real estate? Just to give you a little background on me, I ended up playing 9 years, which was great, long career. Going back even further, my dad played 8 years. For you guys that like those old school players, Earl Campbell, he was a fullback for Earl Campbell for 8 years. When he retired, the game was over, and so was it. The game over for us. Went back to my dad went back to selling cable box, and so I had the opportunity to kind of go and live that same dream and realize about halfway through, like, hey, man, I'm not going back to selling cable boxes. So, I went, my wife forced me, I will literally say forced me to get my MBA. So went back to GW, got an MBA, George Washington University, got an MBA there. And my father-in-law and brother-in-law were like, hey, man, we got something that we've been talking about for 5 years with you. It's real estate, man. You need to get in this multifamily real estate. I bought a house in 07. I got drafted in 07, bought that house, and that wasn't a good time to buy a house. If anybody bought a house in 07. So, when they talk to me about real estate, I'm like, nah, I got a bad experience with real estate. I don't want anything to do with it. And that was in 09. Then come 2014, I'm like, hey, what were y'all talking about with that real estate? I live in Washington, D.C. And so they got me into it. One thing that I want to focus on there is the niche piece. When I first got into real estate, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to flip houses, because that's what they did on TV. I wanted to, have ground leases. I wanted to own shopping centers. And the more I noticed that I was kind of spaced out, the more I needed to find a niche. I needed to find something, because I would find a building, but I wouldn't know its instant value. Whereas now, when I go, I'm very niche. I'm a DC area, multifamily, affordable housing provider that's looking for 12 to 75 units. If you're under that, I don't need to talk to you. If you're above that, I don't want to talk to you. It's very specific in what I'm looking for. So when I see a building, broker brings me building. I don't go look for buildings. They bring me a building. I can tell you within probably 20 minutes whether we need to continue this conversation, if I need a site visit or what. And so, excuse me, that's the more thing that you need to develop a niche, whatever you're doing, and you get into it. But I had a little bit of scalability and a system that's now gotten to a place that was helped through my brother-in-law and father-in-law.
Thank you. Greg, franchises, right? Like everybody hears about the great Junior Bridgman and how he was able to establish what he established, in your area. So it's really, really important for you to go into like the reality is of that and what it takes to get started.
Yep. So I'll say the realities of franchising. So I'll say there are two things. One is there's a huge variety of franchises out there, like 6,000. Some of them are terrible and some of them are great. So being able to pick the right one is very important. Secondly, like being an operator, essentially one thing I've learned in life, as you succeed, you get to say no more. So, for example, like athletes, they can get into most franchise systems, and it's very hard to. So the best franchises are selective. So using that, like when you have social capital, picking the right one and knowing that you will have options. And I'll say the final piece is, many people think, oh, I own a franchise, so it's a service business. But you're a manager, and you're trying to build multiple franchises and build it as an income stream. So I'll say those are the three things, like picking the right one, realizing that you yourself as an operator need to succeed and be a great operator so you can get into the right one, and then finally realizing that you want to be more like a manager, a multi-unit franchise owner. You don't really want a job in a restaurant. You want to own 20 restaurants.
Marley. So starting a business, using your tools, what's important? Like what do athletes need to think about when starting a business, structuring it, and the strategy that goes into it?
I think the first thing you have to realize is you don't have to build a business where you live. I think that fundamental part throws a lot of people off. If you're from New York, you don't have to start a business in New York. Most companies, obviously everybody uses Delaware, which is known, but you can operate a company anywhere in all 50 states. What you really need to know is more businesses you have, the better it is for you. Because then you have options for your businesses. What I mean is, so we usually, at Simply Global, we build 7, 8 LLCs to start. Without 7 or 8, there's not much we can do. And we also build it offshore. So I think a huge part of what's going on today is that offshoring and having a parent company located overseas is phenomenally beneficial, which was once reserved for the uber wealthy, now it could be offered to a lot more people. So as I sit here, is starting it where you start and to really start thinking, do I have to be here because I live here, is where you really start the foundation.
And I think that part is amazing, right? Like, it's very important because, you know, the turnkey aspect that we want to focus on when it comes to making sure that individuals are ready to start something and they're, you know, they feel self-empowered to do so, are the steps, right? Having those steps and having that strategy and having somebody, if you may, hold their hand through that process to start it until they evolve into the independence that they can have. So, you know, that part is extremely critical. And so to my athletes on the panel, you know, and I have something different for you, Greg, but, you know, what did you tap into as an athlete to help you continue to grow and build every single day?
Well, you know, for me, you know, basically you go into a game plan, you're doing a lot of film study, you're analyzing, you're breaking down everything. I'm a big numbers guy anyway, so when I go into a building, why I could do it in 20 minutes, I build a whole system, so all I got to do is plug numbers in there and analyze it and dig deep into the numbers. You're going to be able to tell whether a building is profitable, can be profitable, and what it's going to take to be profitable. And so just the level of detail and homework and studying that goes into it is the same thing that I did as an athlete. Speaking of, you know, something that was said earlier is also as an athlete, we kind of get, you know, a different view. I've got a lot of buildings presented to me and a lot of opportunity because I'm a former athlete. You know, it sometimes is important to buy real estate in your place that you played in, because I'll get a deal, and I've had multiple deals where I wasn't the highest bidder, but hey man, we like, well, it's the Commanders now, but I used to play for the Redskins. Hey, we like Josh Wilson because he's a Redskin. And I'd be like, well, I like you too. You know, you have to be able to, you know, continue to keep your name up, keep your celebrity, and sometimes use that to your advantage because you worked hard for that. And you can still be able to profit from that if you can keep your name in the right light.
You know, absolutely. That's a part of your intellectual property, right? Like, you earn that over time, and the trust that you've established with those different communities, you have a right to it. So that's a great way to think about it.
I always go back to, I'm a track and field guy. I tend to say one thing about athletes is the incredible work ethic. I think people, and I tell my clients all the time, we're athletes. You're not getting paid for what you did the last 4 years. You're getting paid for what you did for the last 25 years. You've been up at practice at 6 in the morning. You were doing double sessions. You gave up your life. You missed prom. You missed all these things. So I sit back, I think, especially as an athlete, you have that brain that it can be done. You know, no matter what, I can get through it. So I always joke with my clients here all the time. I joke about the hardest workout I did was 2200s at 30 seconds. It sounds easy, but by the 12th 200, you're really tired. And by the 15th one, you're dead. And the 5 more after that is the mental toughness. So I say to be mentally tough and to know that it can get done has helped us build this company where we took corporate structuring, which is a very old, archaic concept, and we took AI, which is phenomenally new, and we only put them together because we, as an athlete, it can be done. I think that mental toughness is really important.
And Greg, we're going to look at you more like a coach, right? There's some coaches that have never played at the highest level or played at, you know, a level at all, but they end up being phenomenal at what they do. So how do you position yourself as a partner or a coach with the athletes that you work with and helping them navigate and get going?
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of it is empathy. So really, it's kind of like exactly everything you said, understanding their story and how you have this window and you have to excel. And you know, for me, I'm a hardcore nerd. So in college, I studied math. But I had a lot of friends that were athletes because we liked rap, for example. But I'm a hardcore nerd, and I went to work at Goldman, helping people invest in franchises. So in other words, I guess there's just a lot to exchange. So you focus on how can I add value to them. So they just have an interest in tech. They have an interest in franchises. And if you have empathy for them and then you bring them value, you're not just trying to hang around, but you're trying to do a deal, then you can build a relationship.
Awesome. And I guess we'll do the last question, and I guess I'll ask it and I'll answer it first. It is, what is your business inside the game? I'm an agent and business manager. I've worked with, current guys and retired guys in different phases of their careers. And I feel like bridging the gap between when you're considered a transitioning athlete and you actually touch retirement, right? Like for the NBA, for example, you have, Think 450 and the NBPA, and then you have the Legends group. And being able to really connect and bridge that gap to make sure that the services are available to them consistently, whether they're, a newly retired Hall of Famer or someone that was a journeyman that has been retired for 6 years and trying to figure it out. So providing them with the tools and resources to make sure that that process is seamless and consistent. So that's my business inside the game.
My business inside the game is a couple things. Biggest thing for anybody that's ever been an athlete, whether your time ended in middle school, high school, college, or in the NFL, 9 years. For me, man, that is a hard day. That's a hard transition, and you really, you really could have some dark days. And what I want to make sure for people to always be able to know is you are not just, we hear that all the time. You're not just a football player. You're not just a basketball player. But no, seriously, you're not just a football player or a basketball player. You can be successful. And for me, in a couple of years, more successful in something else. You got to look at this as a stepping stone. This is getting you inside the door. This is what you're using to get that platform for that next thing. It's hard to imagine coming from where I came from that this, the NFL would be just a stepping stone. But that's where I'm at now. Like, I had to realize that there was somebody signing them checks. And when I realized somebody was signing them checks, then this isn't the pinnacle of where I needed to get to. I needed to get somewhere bigger. And that's what I tried to, make sure I always let people know that, hey, I just used the NFL. I used the NFL to get to real estate. I needed the NFL to get me to real estate, not the NFL for whatever else. Nah, they were just a stepping stone. I'm moving aside. Another important piece, and I don't want to take too much time, is the affordable housing piece. When I got into real estate, I was all over the place, and I started realizing, man, hey, growing up, I got evicted 3 times, and that's up. And it was tough. And I wanted to be able to get involved in something that made a difference, not just making money. Now, I do make money, don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? But I'm making a difference too. People are also getting affordable housing, and I'm locking in for 10 plus years that even if I sell this building, they still locked in for those years. And that is important to me that, hey man, it's some little boy that mom may be struggling, but they still gonna be all right because of a decision that I decided to make on this building. So those 2 things really are my business inside the game.
Yes, so I'll say for me, it's studying economic engines that help you build wealth. So I grew up really poor, and I went to some rich boarding school and a rich college. And then eventually, I always used to wonder, why can't my parents make money? They study, they work hard, but it's just hard. Like, you can open a restaurant and to fail. But my friends' parents in school, they can just make money. Eventually, I worked at Goldman, and you learn ideas about moats and high finance, what to invest in and what not to. So there are special economic engines that can make money. Like the NFL, like we really say franchise player. Each state is those are franchises. The NBA, those are franchises, McDonald's. So there are ways to build wealth. And that's kind of what I try to study. Partly for my personal story, and in general, I'll say like black people. So if you think of the things black people excel in the world, like playing football, playing basketball, you don't need a lot of money to start, or music, singing. But once you get into fields where you need money to be an investor, to do research, black people are going to struggle. Like capitalism, the way it works is that you earn money on money. The more money you have, the easier it is to make money. So I'm kind of obsessed with this idea of understanding what engines can we use if you don't have money to create wealth.
It's a hard one to follow. I think what we try to do, our business inside the game, is to humanize the athletes. Part of when I started this, I think everybody looks at them differently, and our goals look at them exactly the same. Like, we're not going to charge you more or less because you're an athlete. actually. And one of the big things we got pushback on was we don't charge for assets under management. I'm like, why? I'm like, I'd much rather treat you like everybody else. I'm not going to charge you more because you make a lot more money. I think their whole life, a lot of them have been taken. What can we take? What can we take? We try to do is, as casual as it sounds, treat like everybody else. We really don't care you play ball. We care that we keep as much money in your pocket as possible. Now, we don't care you get traded. We care that your assets are all protected, all your properties have LLCs, all your finances. That's what we really care about. We try to humanize you to make sure that you really are the human being that you really are, not this machine or cog you have been for the past 20 years. And we really enjoy that part of our business.
Well, thank you guys for all participating and making your contributions to this. Baron, Big Summit, thank you again. Thank you all for taking the time to listen, and we'll see you guys next year.
Thank you.